have a big project with the name Magic in Time. It's a show I made to start my writing and animation journey. And in a previous video, I did an animation challenge and it showed how absolutely horrendous my design is. For like a one-off character, that's bad. But the main character? Let's fix that. So we have 4 things on the agenda. 1. We have to make the design have a theme. 2. We need to draft the said design. 3. We need to animate the design that we're comfortable with and again make the necessary changes. And 4. Show off our final design in a jam-packed illustration that makes us go BAM, baby! So this is our first character, Zay Bloom, our main character from the future in Magic in Time. The first design was having this basic theme of Victorian battle girl, and it didn't even convey that very well. It was difficult to color her as well, because in the other video she had so many shades of blue and none of them repeated anywhere. Now, it's not really important if they repeat, but it definitely helps when you have such a big design and you have to constantly be animating it. I didn't know what her problem is when I first designed her, so I decided let's get some story elements in it and sketch some civilian outfits for her. Because I had so many drafts of what she looked like as a magical girl, so I took into account what she was interested in, making her theme flowers and warrior. Why this theme exactly? In her time, the future, you are chosen and forced to become a magical soldier, and are given these powers by the leader of the society. People have left one by one and it's become so demoralizing in a place where you are always fighting to survive. She believes that this place is lost and she needs that hope desperately. But every little flower weed that she sees is a reminder that maybe, just maybe, things can get better, even if she doesn't believe it herself. Step 1 completes. Now we move on to the drafting process. Began her next design, I wanted to see what I was doing. I was having fun. I was having a really good time. I even sketched her in my sketchbook. It was a fun time. But there was a problem. Minus the fact that I don't know how to paint hair in my sketchbook. We ignore that. I didn't like her design. I kept looking at it. It looked basic. The past you see is inspired by Rococo fashion, while the present is inspired by steampunk Victorian fashion. And something that made me know that I completely messed up in every way was when a friend of mine, I showed it to them and they said she looks like a pumpkin. The actual shame! It had to be redone. So I needed a break and I went on to a different character. Ladies and gentlemen, Lottie McHoney! Our second main character from the past. Lottie was originally just a character that was supposed to be, you know, background character, easy to put in, until I started sprinkling in some story for her because a friend wanted me to explain her, and before I knew it, she was a main character. See, in the past, you are chosen, but it's always still your choice to proceed as a magical girl, and because of this, they were more free and did their jobs a lot better. Her theme is Clown Knights. Why this theme exactly? Well, she loves her family, and as she was chosen to become a magical girl, her goal was to protect them, which was where the knight's inspiration came from, and keeping them smiling, hence the clown. Can you tell I really like joke characters? Anyway, that is what made her design move so smoothly. She had a really basic start, but eventually I built up on it. Her style is definitely inspired by the Rococo era because it's more body compared to the others, but it definitely is more limited. After I finished with her design and made the first draft, I moved on to Zay again. Oh boy. I started messing with her design and erasing details, doing paint overs and making things a little bit more cohesive. It still didn't look right either way. Zay just didn't have the je ne sais quoi I was looking for. After I learned in a different video, this one, that I loved gradient maps, I used that to make different color variations of her outfits, even placing it in a lineup so I could see what I really liked. As I kept editing the design, I landed on this. And you know what? I really liked it at this point. So we can say that step 2 is complete. Next up, animating the designs. So we went with a walk cycle. With Clip Studio Paint, I started with a perspective plane, basic walks for the walk cycle that I thumbnailed in my sketchbook, and started arranging them with better timing in place. I worked on the tie downs for the walk, I did in some details, and then did the hair and color. So far, it was fine until I got to some of the details. Before we go to the things that I hated, let's start with the things I like, starting with the hair. It was super bouncy, I had no issues with it. And because Zay's is such a big shape and so is Lottie's, I can just add all the details later. Next were the stripes on Lottie's pants, arms. It was an easier process after I made them bigger. I also really liked the colors. The way Zay's dress looks like a flower from the bottom as you hold it like upside down just makes me think, oh, she looks so cute and pretty, and the little flowers are having like tipped ends. It's nice. It's just nice. But my favorite thing out of every other thing will be that when Lottie walks, she goes clunk, 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 because her shoes are made of metal. Absolutely hilarious to me. Now, for the stuff that had to go, Zay's corset did not need to be laced in the front. It did not need to be laced at all. So we'll just keep it as a nice banded leather piece. Lottie's hair as well was not in a very practical shape at the time I designed her, so I had to turn it into a bow so it matched the rest of her. I also redid her forearm guards, and while they were pretty, they weren't practical for animation and they looked really bulky. Her collar was also removed, and it wasn't bad, but I never really saw the color repeat anywhere. It just looked really out of place with everything else in her design. She definitely looks like she has armor on, and I think I like that more. Finally, Zay's. I moved on to the top parts of her sleeves. Those had to go and were just turned into a single sleeve with a little color variation there. I removed the boots so that you can see that it's just really long boots. She just has really long boots. In the end, the small changes made a big difference to her silhouette because she's way more sleek but has that nice poof at the end. It's a tragedy when you have to remove details that you may like, but remember, when you're making these, you have to make the best use of her design. It just wasn't feasible to constantly be having to animate different parts that I didn't want to because the design said so. All the drafting, sketching, and multiple sessions of work, we now have our final girls. Which means step 3 is complete and we move on to step 4. We have our illustration of our girls. I'm genuinely happy with these designs and I will miss the other iterations, but for now they are great. We're now in pre-production stage and writing, so you will be seeing more of them. So thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye!